Basketball is a team sport, not won by one person alone. The saying, "there is no I in team," best applies to it. In order for a team to be successful in basketball and to win games, it needs to have players that are playing on the same page and for the same purpose, which is to win. It needs a team that is able to play together. The players need to know their respective roles in the team. They must be willing to sacrifice everything and anything in order to win. They must be committed to work hard on and off the court. With that in mind, in the mostly anticipated NBA finals matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers is going to beat the Miami Heat in the 2011 NBA Finals and win the 2011 NBA Championship because they have the better team chemistry. They have more experience being the defending back-to-back NBA champions, and they have the bigger and deeper lineup, and they have Kobe Bryant. If anticipatedly happens that there will be no lineup changes between the two respective teams and their roster stays as they are right now, the Lakers have the clear-cut advantage in most of the positions. At point guard, the point guard battles will be between starters Derek Fisher of the Los Angeles Lakers and Mario Chalmers of the Miami Heat. It is a classic matchup between veteran experience and young athleticism and speed. Yes, Mario Chalmers is the younger and more athletic and quicker than the veteran Derek Fisher, but the old Fisher is proven to hit and make clutch shots, especially during the postseason. Boasting his 5 NBA championships in his resume, Fisher is known for taking and occasionally making big clutch shots and threes like what he did for the Lakers against the Orlando Magic and the Boston Celtics. Also, the Lakers are deeper in this position with the addition of Steve Blake, which will most likely back up Fisher. He is the better offensive and defensive guard compared to the Heat's Carlos Arroyo, which will back up Chalmers. Blake is a starting point guard and that settled for a reserve role. He is known for his three-point shooting ability. So the Lakers have the clear advantage in the point guard position. At shooting guard, this will be a showdown between NBA superstars Kobe Bryant of the Los Angeles Lakers and Dwyane Wade of the Miami Heat. Of the two, Kobe is the better scorer and Wade is the better defender. Dwyane Wade is the faster and more athletic guard. His strength and quickness will force Kobe Bryant to work for most of his shots. But Kobe Bryant possesses something that Dwyane Wade doesn't, and that is his dynamic shooting ability. Kobe can practically shoot anywhere on the floor and everywhere on it too. So that gives him the clear-cut advantage of the two guards, and that is a nightmare matchup for most teams. Also, the Lakers have the advantage with the reserves Matt Barnes, Shannon Brown, and Sasha Vujacic over the Heat's reserves Mike Miller and Jerry Stackhouse. Yes, Mike Miller can shoot threes, but he's a liability for defense, and Stackhouse is in his declining years. On the other hand, for the Lakers, Matt Barnes is a proven defender that can guard Wade and James on given times. Shannon Brown is an energy player off the bench that is very athletic and plays hard, and Sasha Vujacic can be a three-point threat on given nights. Thus, the advantage for shooting guard goes to the Lakers. At small forward, this will be a matchup between Heat's superstar LeBron James and the Lakers' Ron Artest. Of the two, LeBron James is the more athletic, faster, and better player compared to Ron Artest, which will cause the Lakers problems. James' skills and abilities cannot be simply stopped by one player alone, but Artest is still considered and regarded to be one of the best individual defenders in the league. His role for the Lakers is to front James and make him work for every shot. On this position, the clear-cut advantage goes to the Heat with James' superb skills and abilities. At power forward, this matchup will be between All-Stars Pau Gasol of the Los Angeles Lakers and Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat. This matchup is somewhat an even matchup. Bosh possesses a slightly speed advantage over Gasol, and Gasol slightly possesses a little bit more height than Chris Bosh, and they practically do mostly the same things, and they have the same skills for their teams. So it just falls down to who comes to perform on a given night and who wants it over the other. But for the Lakers, they have the luxury of having Lamar Odom come off their bench at power forward. Odom is a dynamic rebounder, and he could also shoot, which can spread the floor. He is the leader of the second unit. Again, Odom is another starter that settled for a reserve role. With that being said, the advantage at power forward goes to the Lakers because they have the luxury of bringing Lamar Odom off of their bench and playing and guarding multiple positions. At center, this matchup will be between Andrew Bynum of the Los Angeles Lakers and Joel Anthony of the Miami Heat. Of the two, Bynum is the better player. He is better and more skilled than Anthony. He could score and defend as well. If healthy, the Lakers have the clear-cut advantage in this position because of Bynum's abilities. Also, with the respective reserves, Theo Ratliff of the Lakers is the faster and more athletic reserve than Zydrunas Ilgauskas of the Heat. Although Big Z is the better shooter of the two, Z is still a liability in defense because of his slow footing. Thus gives Ratliff the advantage with his athleticism and his active role around the rim. Big Z, as I said, is a liability on defense, and that gives the Lakers big an advantage because they can blow by him at every given time. Thus, the advantage at the center position again goes to the Los Angeles Lakers. In terms of the bench, the Lakers bench has a clear-cut advantage with Steve Blake, Matt Barnes, Shannon Brown, Sasha Vujicic, and Luke Walton on it and leading the charge. They have the prominent bench mob that was successful in their title run last year and which will be a very successful tool again in their run for a three-peat this year. At coaching job, the Lakers coach Phil Jackson clearly has the advantage, boasting his 11 NBA championship rings in his resume. Phil Jackson is the more experienced and better coach of the two compared to Eric Spoelstra. And unless Pat Riley comes down and takes over the coaching job for the Heat, then the Lakers have the clear-cut advantage over the coaching. In this much-awaited matchup between three of the NBA superstars, namely Kobe Bryant of the Los Angeles Lakers and Dwayne Wade and LeBron James of the Miami Heat, Kobe Bryant will outshine the two superstars as he did in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He is known to be more clutch at clutch situations. He is known to take and make big shots over and over again, time by time. When the game is on the line, you can expect him to have the ball and take over the game for his team, and that is the advantage that he gives for the Lakers. Also, being the two-time NBA defending champions, the Lakers is the better and more experienced team, having most of the same championship team the past two runs, keeping their role players and adding more to their lineup. The Lakers have the more team chemistry. They know how to play with each other and complement each other. They have been through these times before with one another, and they know how to perform at these situations. Also, they have more experience over the Heat. For the Heat, only Wade has championship experience while most of the Laker team has. And the addition of Steve Blake, Matt Barnes, and Theo Ratliff only made the Lakers bench deeper, stronger, and better. And those are the clear advantage why the 2011 NBA championship will be owned and dominated by the Los Angeles Lakers, and the 2011 NBA champion will be the Los Angeles Lakers.